It's a big jump from where I was. Good timing. I was from a full low to a full high.
I always believed I could coach a world champion. And the fact that he's fighting for the title.
Jack Della Maddalena is currently in the midst of an intense training camp, focusing heavily on his wrestling techniques and overall stamina as he prepares for a potential clash with Islam Makhachev. Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev shared his thoughts on the rumored matchup between Makhachev and Della Maddalena. According to Makhachev, while many fans expect an easy victory for Makhachev, he does not see it that way. He still favors Makhachev to win, but predicts a much tougher contest than most anticipate. Makhachev pointed out that although Makhachev has a strong frame for the lightweight division, he does not appear as dominant at welterweight. In his view, Della Maddalena could possess greater size and sharper striking abilities, though he acknowledged Makhachev's clear advantage in grappling exchanges.
I think a lot of people think that it's going to be an easy fight for Islam, but I don't think that it's going to be that easy. I think Islam going to win, but I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for him, like everybody thinks. Because Islam is maybe big for lightweight, but he's not big for welterweight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's why I would say, like, I don't know, he don't look for me so big.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's just on pictures or whatever, but actually, you know, I think JDM has a lot more of weight than him. But at the end of the day, I think JDM has better striking, and Islam has for sure the better.
Moreover, Makhachev elaborated that although Makhachev may not appear especially large compared to other welterweights, he still is confident that Islam has what it takes to prevail. He admitted the fight would be far from straightforward, but trusts Makhachev's well-rounded skill set to secure the victory. At the same time, Makhachev cautioned fans against underestimating Jack Della Maddalena, stressing his position at the top is well-deserved. Ultimately, he reiterated that the contest will be anything but easy, yet he remains confident in Makhachev's ability to overcome the challenge.
Don't ever beat it.
Jack Della Maddalena is tailoring his training sessions to counter Islam Makhachev's heavy grappling style by perfecting his takedown defense and maintaining agility. His preparation includes refining his movement, sharpening the timing of his defensive reactions, and learning how to recover quickly if taken down. In addition, he is upgrading his boxing to keep the contest standing while conditioning himself to withstand Islam's relentless forward pressure. Meanwhile, Renato Buono described the potential matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena as a balanced contest. He acknowledged Islam's world-class grappling, but emphasized that moving up to welterweight brings unique challenges, such as facing stronger, heavier opponents and adapting his body to the demands of a higher division.
So Islam versus JDM.
I think they probably should be even, you know, because even though Islam is a good grappler, he's big for 155. He's moving to 170. We never know, you know. I think he needs to take some time to work to gain weight, to gain power, you know, to gain strength. So that's why the odds are even, and I think they should.
Luke Rockhold remarked that the potential matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena promises both difficulty and excitement. He mentioned that Islam, Ilia Topuria, and Della Maddalena are the three UFC fighters he currently enjoys watching the most. Rockhold praised Jack's action-packed performances and capable wrestling, but stressed Islam's lifelong foundation in grappling as a decisive factor. He also highlighted the size dynamics, pointing out that Della Maddalena holds a natural size advantage, while Islam has noticeably added mass, making the contest even more intriguing.
Watch. So, I mean, that's going to be a great fight. You know, he's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown, you know, we'll see how he...
Thomas analyzed Jack Della Maddalena's most recent performance, praising his striking but noting flaws in his defensive reactions and grappling decisions. He cautioned that such mistakes could prove costly against an opponent as calculated and technically refined as Islam Makhachev. Thomas also expressed enthusiasm for Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight, viewing it as an opportunity for him to join the exclusive club of two division champions. He acknowledged the transition carries significant risks, but emphasized the immense legacy awaiting Makhachev should he succeed.
Prowess of JDM, if he could just have enough time to get it going, would be enough. I think Muhammad somewhat overperformed relative to expectations, but in the end, JDM was better. But the defensive lapses, to me, I know we have to focus on like how good JDM is as a striker, but what could have cost him here was the incompleteness of his defense. And to me, he took a quantum leap forward today in showing how good that was. Now, again, trying to turn that defense into offense by trying to go for some of those ill-advised takedowns, especially in the fifth, and then you're getting kind of lateral dropped for it. You do that against Islam, and I think that's a huge mistake. Islam just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He doesn't necessarily have, at times, always the flashiest offense. I mean, he does have very good offense. We're talking about the pound-for-pound #1 guy in the sport. But what really defines him is that he makes very, very good decisions. Up at 170 to me is exciting. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh my God, the best fight you could have made in MMA was Ilya versus Islam. I'm not denying it. I'm not in any way asking you to feel differently about what was the best fight that could be made. But here's what I am trying to tell you. Islam up at 170 could be something really special. It could fizzle too, but I'm trying to point out the positives. It could be really special. For him to become a double champ could be a very big...
Alexander Volkanovski weighed in on the potential clash between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev, noting that Jack's bout with Belal Muhammad served as an ideal warm-up. He believes Jack's success in stuffing Muhammad's takedowns has boosted his confidence and sharpened his defensive arsenal. Volkanovski added that even elite-level wrestlers may struggle to take Jack down or keep him on the mat. Dustin Poirier shared his perspective, explaining that the outcome of the fight may hinge on the opening rounds. If Islam Makhachev establishes early control on the ground, Poirier expects him to win. However, if Jack Della Maddalena can successfully defend those attempts, his sharp boxing and physical advantages could pose a serious threat to Islam. Poirier also noted that Islam's striking appears unorthodox, but proves effective because opponents hesitate to fully commit offensively under the constant threat of a takedown.
We'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's gonna get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. For me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell him.
Charles Oliveira described Jack Della Maddalena as dangerous because of his methodical approach, wearing opponents down gradually rather than relying on solely quick finishes, as he showed in his fight against Belal Muhammad. He expressed confidence that Islam Makhachev would adapt well to welterweight, pointing to his increased power and dominant grappling skills. Oliveira sees the matchup as a true test of styles, whether Jack can keep the fight standing or Islam can impose his wrestling.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo.
Robert Whittaker acknowledged acknowledged the difficulty of predicting Islam Makhachev's performance at welterweight, noting that moving divisions always introduces new variables. He explained that both the physical dynamics and the strategic demands change at a higher weight class. Still, Whittaker expressed confidence in Islam's abilities, stating that he believes Makhachev can replicate or even surpass what Belal Muhammad brings to the table. Henry Cejudo predicted that Islam Makhachev would ultimately succeed in claiming a second championship, calling it the natural progression of his career. In contrast, Kamaru Usman leaned towards Jack Della Maddalena, praising his composure under pressure and confidence in defending his belt. Both fighters suggested that the bout is likely to take place in Abu Dhabi this October.
Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, keep it shiny, keep it nice for me. JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the talking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilya versus Islam Makhachev.
Chael Sonnen weighed in on whether Islam Makhachev would remain at welterweight and continue pursuing a title shot if he were to lose to Jack Della Maddalena, or if he would instead return to 155 pounds. He pointed to examples like Ilia Topuria and Islam himself to emphasize that at the end of the day, fighters ultimately prioritize capturing championships, which he called the primary objective in the sport.
If he loses to Jack, does he get right back in the mix at 170? Works his way back to that title shot. Is that what he does, or does he cut his weight back down to 155 pounds? Whether it was Ilya, what he's going through now, what it is Islam and the announcement that we just got, what I'm attempting to prove to you is there is nothing in this sport that matters more to the fighters than...
That wraps up today's video. What are your thoughts on this fight? How do you see the matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena playing out? Share your predictions in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the breakdown. Also, be sure to check out our other latest videos appearing on the screen.